Alive.
We are live.
Yep, we are live and ready to go. I'll be back on camera in just a minute. I'm working on a few
Okay.
things here in the background. Yeah, let's get on started. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. It's what's today, December 4th?
Good
Typical year
afternoon.
2023, and it's our Sunday um, podcast where we delve into a lot of breaking news from the motherland,
Mhm.
sharing our opinions and views. And like I always say, every weekend, viewers, this is purely out of passion. And yes, we are aligned to the UPND. We have no shame to say that.
No, we
And
don't.
my name is Kalinda. I'm broadcasting live from the Hoosh state of Indiana. And Mr. Chair, how was your week? Should I say?
My week was really good. Thank the Lord. We had a great Thanksgiving in Chicago with family and friends, and it just went well. This week has been good. No snow yet. It's been cold and raining, and the current state of affairs in Zambia is very interesting, and hence we are here to comment, to promote, to protect without fear or favor what the New Dawn government is doing. Thank you.
Oh, perfect. And the man who was missing last week is back today. The one and only, yeah? The deep
I'm,
thinker is back in the building.
Mm-hmm.
I'm,
Valentine, welcome back.
I'm back. Thank you. I'm driving, so I might not show my picture.
All right.
Viva UPND! Viva!
Viva, viva, viva
Oh, well,
HHC.
that's a deep thinker. He ran away last week, but he's back
I'm,
this week. So we love that. And yeah, we have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of topics to talk about. And maybe before we start, I think people are still coming in. Where's that? Oh, my Chanda, here he is. Mr. Chilufia. I thought I just invited him. What has happened?
He's not in yet.
Let's see. Let me try this again. Mr. Chilufia, the man of the hour.
There we are.
Yeah,
I'm here.
yeah. What
Mm-hmm.
happened to you? But
I
you
don't
say
know.
it's 10 minutes late. What's going on?
Oh my
When
God. Yeah, she you know, you're a parent and you have to do navana and stuff like that. You know.
Oh
So,
yeah, if there's anything I'm glad about living this part is that actually our Zambian men they're involved in their kids' lives,
Fully
and I
involved.
mean hands-on.
We are
yeah,
fully
so
involved.
fairly change number. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
like
not
the olden
exactly what you're
time.
saying, Vanina, but while it.
Mm-mm.
Yep. We are fully
All
involved.
right. So how's been your week? How is everything in your in the woods of your neck?
This side, everything is good. I can tell you one thing. It's been a very a good week for me. Not a week, but a month actually. Just got a new job and stuff like that. So it's been good for me. You know, and you know we have to deal with Havana and stuff like that. And in the
Mm-hmm.
middle of all that, yeah, I mean everything else is good. You know, when for my bachelor, ni fifi ne felt like
Yeah. Okay. Congratulations on the new job.
Oh,
Anyway, let's get started.
Mm, mm.
I'm gonna be working in the background, but I'll join in. I'm glad that you're here. You know what to do, Atan. You're the
Of
man of
course.
the hour. You know what to do.
Okay. Okay. So what we want, first of all, we need to discuss the first topics of the day. Um, Of course, Natula, what are we? Because I just joined it, obviously.
We just started. We just been, like the Spanish people, always say, we've been just throwing out Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad. So now that we've
Christmas
got that out of the
Kali.
way, it's time to start the discussion. And we have a lot of topics, that broke out in Zambia this week. So I think there's no easier way to start by, I don't want to start with the sixth president. With the, his charges. He had a huge press conference on Wednesday, where he charged that the democratic space was shrinking. I mean, it's just repeating what everybody else has been talking about in the opposition. But I think before we go there, let's start with maybe a minute of silence to those people that died in Chingola, trying to make it back at those dump site of our mines. I think that was a sad, state of affairs for the copper belt. So, let's start with a minute of silence for our brothers and who died as they try to retrieve any remnants of copper that they could lay their hands on to sell to feed their families. I think it's important to do that. All right, I think that's a minute.
All right.
Yeah, and so I'd like to say, let's not. I don't want to talk about really just about what happened, because we don't know until we get the facts from the ground. I think there's investigations going on there, so I don't want us to politicize that. So I think observing that 1 minute is enough, and until we get more facts on our hands, maybe we can talk about it in the future. But right now, I think this is enough. So with that out of the way, now let's go back to our topics of the day. I guess the good news with Mupani, we actually have a buyer. It was announced this week, except there are no details given because we don't know how many shares those Saudis, will get out of the mine. And then there's also the 1.5 billion, that has to be dealt with. The government owes to Glencore. So all those details are flying out there. But then maybe let's start with the chair. You know more about the mines. I'm sure you heard the announcement from the Minister of Mines, Mr. Paul Kabuso, this week, announcing that what do they call it? The Saudi Group International Relations. What's the word for it? Anyway, go ahead and talk about it, and I'll come back with it. I think it's called IRC. That's that's who was selected this week to take up stake in our Mupani copper mine. Yes. Your take, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sister Kalinda. First of all, I want to congratulate the government for taking up that step, for moving the mining industry in the right direction. We know this has been a pending issue because mining is the biggest sector of our economy that generates income, revenue, everything, whatever you want to call it. for the country. It brings in a lot of investment. They are auxiliary investments. Once we have mining going well, it employs, I think, a lot of people, second only to government, if not being the first. So for the government to move in that direction, to find a partner, though the details have not yet been shared, I think it's a commendable job. It brings life to the copper belt again, life which was going away. It brings hope.
Did we lose the chair?
Yeah, I think we lost the chair. I don't know what happened here. Hopefully, it's not using Zamtel. Yeah, we lost the chair there. Hopefully, he'll be back soon. And we were just getting started. Deep thinker, you have been gone. I know your brain is refreshed. So, give us your take on the mine takeover by the Saudis.
So I personally don't care much for the Saudis. On a personal level, I don't care much for the Saudis, but business is business, and I'm really happy that we are looking for places where we can, find investors that are going to help our economy. And I know, because of who is in power and the party that is in power, I know that the money is not going to be misused. And I know that the negotiations for the mines will be done in good faith, and it will benefit the Zambians. So that's the biggest piece for me. I'm comfortable with the one and the people that are leading the country, and I know that with these mine negotiations, they will do right and they'll be fair for every Zambian. They're doing it for Zambians and not for the ruling party or the rich ones. So I'm very comfortable, and whatever HH and his cabinet are doing, I can sit back knowing that they are going to represent me well. Now, Lungu may think differently, PF may think differently, but for me personally, I'm comfortable that whatever deals are made, they will be made in the benefit of Zambians and myself.
Wow, well spoken, deep thinker. And on that note, the chair is back. Please, the chair, we're waiting for you to pound and pound. Go ahead.
Sorry, I dropped off, but I could hear you.
Oh, okay.
So what I was saying, like the deep thinker alluded to, so these deals are supposed to be done in the interest of the nation, not in the interest of a few individuals. And this is what the president has been talking about. So this company is coming from in the Middle East. I know in the Middle East, their vast experience is petroleum drilling and that kind of thing. My only hope is that they are well versed with mining operations. Having been in mining for quite a long time, I know part of the world and companies that invest heavily in mining. But that part of the world, the Middle East, they are venturing into so many activities. Even in Europe, they have ventured into very profitable activities, and they have been running these things quite admirably. So I am very hopeful that the government is negotiating a deal that will benefit the Zambian people and the Zambian government in terms of revenue generation, in terms of royalty, in terms of giving back to community, because this was huge in the times when I worked for the mines. RCM and ZCCM they had a huge program to give back in the community. That's how you saw those communities were well developed. They were well developed in terms of schools, hospitals, and just everything. So I hope that peace will be taken care of, or is being taken care of. We have learned lessons from the past. Remember that video that keeps running, so embarrassing, that we saw the mines for a song? I am very sure that this is not a song that is going on right here. This is the right deal, because our president is a chief marketer and he knows how to craft right deals through the competent ministers that he has. So my hope is that through the royalties, the tax regime that will be negotiated for is one that will benefit the Zambian people. And by the Zambian people, I literally mean across the political boundaries. Like the deep thinker said, we cannot politicize this issue enough. And on the the UPND side, this is one issue that the president said. Remember, the goal for the country is to increase the output to almost 1 million. And we cannot increase that output, the copper output, to almost 1 million if we don't manage these entities well. So we need to bring in the investment, recapitalization of the mines. The mines need to be recapitalized. A lot of things have to be done in order for us to attain that goal. And this is what the president and the government are doing, bringing in investors, recapitalizing, and giving hope to the people. It brings back hope to the people. Hope that was gone during the MMD. They liquidated, PF. They liquidated these mines. So the hope was sucked away from the people, but we are bringing back hope. We are bringing back life again to these people. So end right there. But if you have time, Sister Kalinda, I really wanted to comment on the safety, because I have been there and I experienced it. So if you can allow me at one point in time, just talk about the safety.
Oh, yes, absolutely. We will definitely will. I think once we get Mr. Chandra to comment
Thank you.
I know he's got the data. He's itching. I can see it through his eyes. He's itching to talk about the Mupani deal. Lay it on us, Bachanda.
Well, we've been talking about the Mopani deal for so long now, and I'm very happy that it's now coming to fruition, and we're able to understand and see how we are and what's going on. So Avantuba Copper Belt now, they'll be able to actually have a breathing space, because now we have a very, very important investor. And look at this. It's not about going to party. It's about going to connect. So this deal comes about because of how he has been, operating and connecting with other people overseas. Now, the Saudi Arabians, those people, they've got money. Okay, they got oil, and obviously they've got a lot of investments all across the country, all across the world. But if they decide to come and invest in Zambia, that's huge, because one, they just don't wake up in one morning to say no, to allow some to invest in Zambia. You have to have a proper relationship with them, because with them it's all about relationships, and the relationship that our president has built throughout the last 2 years with the Saudi Arabians and everybody else in the Middle East, Europe, and America, it's outstanding. This is something that has never been done on that scale. And if you look at Valungu, he never was building these relationships. He never was building these relationships. And now that we have a president that can go and sit down and talk about positive issues, progressive issues, how can they benefit from us, and how can we benefit from them, and how can we communicate and become a worldwide distributor for cars, oil, all these other big burning issues that are affecting the world right now at a larger scale. And to me, I was like, okay, he wants to come back in the game. What is he going to tell us? What is he going to tell us? So this deal it's actually very good. I'm just going to leave for now. I'll leave it there, and then we'll obviously deal in the, diving into intricacies of the deal. But abantu bakopa built na batemwa. That's what people want. People want jobs. If you bring in all these big deals, big buyers, big investors, it means abantu pa neighborhood they've got jobs. Yeah. If your uncle was now tomorrow, oh no, English. You go there and people start working. So these are the things that we need to start looking at, not to fear everything else that everybody else is talking. I don't know. I've digressed a lot. Bakalinda.
All right. So I think for me, really, the most important thing is that the deal is in place, and also the details are in the pudding. What's the stand for it? So I'm waiting to see what's in the details to really make an informed comment on it. But the deal is a start, and going forward, the only thing that I expect is for my people on the corporate belt, for them to also start singing at what was that song? That's my favorite song, actually. It's called Male Salula, blah 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 blah. No, but I to Salula. That's what I want to hear. The corporate. I want them to start singing like
Cola Salula. I want to call Salula. Because Brian number my barbecue every weekend.
Yeah, so that's what I want to. I want in the next few months to hear my peeps in the copper belt singing every day. Nabambok Salula Navena. So yeah, congratulations to the government. But until we actually see the details, I think for me the most important thing is how much equity are the Saudis going to take, over? Because
Yes.
I mean, 60 years or in, we can't just give it up. We can't give it up. Or I know we say we don't have money. I do believe we have the expertise. I mean, some of the best engineers or miners I know over here, they're Zambian. So I don't know why we can't tap into those. So nobody can convince me and say we don't have the expertise. Money wise, maybe it's there. We have something to talk about. So to me, those are the most important thing. How much equity are we giving up?
Yes.
And then who's going to deal with the 1.5 billion Mr. Lungu gave up to Genco? So there's also that. So until they really explain the intricacies, congratulations to the government. So maybe before we move on, let's give you, Mr. Chair, the time and space to talk about the safety, mining environment, vis-a-vis what happened in Chingala. Go ahead. It's your time.
Thank you. I appreciate. First of all, just building on the point that you said, the mining industry in Zambia is one of the most professional industries around in the Southern Africa or Africa as a whole. We have so many professionals. At one point in time, we had if we talk about the workforce of professionals, we were better than South Africa. We're almost ranking in the top 2 in Africa, because ZCCM, RCM, they invested in the development of human resources. I was part of the beneficiaries. So the human talent that we had in the mines up to now, apart from the 2 mining schools that we have in Zambia, Copperbelt and the mines, is so vast. It's really so vast and so experienced, such that at one point in time, countries were consulting with the Zambian engineers and professionals. And so that is a leveraging point that the Zambian government can use. That's a leveraging point that the Zambian government can use, apart from the investment that these people are bringing. Manpower, they cannot even touch it. They cannot touch it. They bring the money which we don't have, but the manpower, we have more than what is needed. Thank you. Now, going to the mine safety aspect. So the mine safety is a critical issue in any mining activity. The mines that we worked on, they were very professional. They had a department of safety which was highly trained, locally trained, and they were sponsored to go outside to train in mining safety. So what we are talking about here are 2 things. The mines that are industrialized, like Kalumbila and all those big mines, their safety is well intact. We have not heard of any accident in those big mines, because I think they did inherit a good safety department, and I think they have built on it. Then the problem comes to these small scale miners or individual miners. I don't want to call them illegal miners. These are miners who probably don't have licenses from the government to do their mining operations. The debacle started during the Chiluba government, when Chiluba sold what was known as the Black Mountain, and he politicized that issue. By that time, I was working at the University of Zambia. There was a lot of backlash because he just politicized everything. There were individuals who were interested in that, because that Black Mountain, the history of the Black Mountain, at one area, I think it's on the east side, and then on the north side, there are huge deposits. When mining started, we didn't have the technology to recover all the assets, and so we were dumping out high value minerals in that area. So when mining techniques improved, the recovery rate improved, and so the grade of the dump went down, or it went high on the west side of management. We dumped a lot of waste, but there was still some recoverable minerals. But there's one portion of that Black Mountain where the mineral content, or the tenor as they call it in metallurgy, is quite high, and that's why people were profiting. China wanted to get that, but Mr. Frederick Chiluba decided against that, and he sold it, or he gave it to the Jerabo as we know them now. So that's the genesis of poor mine safety. All the documents were kept at Kalulishi Library for mine safety. When that stockpile, when that pile was sold to these people, these are individuals who unfortunately have not done any mine safety. They were just interested in mining those things, put them in a truck and sell them to the Chinese or whoever, so that they can refine the concentrate and get the minerals. That's all they were doing. Nobody had the capacity to invest in providing safety to the friends or to the miners that they had employed. And so that debacle continues from one regime to the other until now. Here we are. That issue has been politicized. It did not need to be politicized, but because somebody wanted the votes, they politicized that. And that's why the debacle is right now. But as a UPND government, I think this gives us an opportunity to remedy this issue that has been going on for years without being looked into, because it's a political issue. So how can we remedy this one? My suggestion is that right now they should close down all those mining activities for people who don't have licenses. Those should be closed down and secured. The goal is to prevent further loss of lives, and the goal is to put in place workable solutions that will protect the people, protect the government, and increase the generation of revenue for these people. We know these are income generating activities, but they have to be protected. It's the duty of the government to protect these people as they want to improve their lives. So number one, we need to close down, secure those areas so that no more lives are lost again. Number two, we need to put in place that all these individual miners, allow them to get licenses to mine so that we can monitor and evaluate. So once they get licenses to mine, then the government should require them to put in place a safety procedures, safety protocols, because it protects them, it protects the people, and it protects everybody. So once those safety protocols are put in place, they cannot be put in place by somebody who doesn't know anything about safety. The government has a safety department. Even the Environmental Council of Zambia is part of that safety department. They can educate them. This is how you secure a mine, because those are not heavily industrialized mining activities going there. They're using rudiment and equipment to get the ore out there. So they need to be protected. They need to be empowered. So to empower them, do a good job, they need to be trained on how to secure these mines. Because today I was looking at that video of a tunnel, long tunnel. These boys are saying, oh, batali, batali. All I was seeing is unsecured tunnel in there. The only thing I was seeing is not safe even to be in there. There is no reinforcement along the walls in the cave. There's nothing. I didn't see any reinforcement that can prevent collapse of those tunnels. I didn't see anything protecting them. If in case of a flood, those boys are not protected. They can be locked out there with water and everything. It will just be a disaster. So as a government, we do have a duty to educate these people, give them the safety requirements that they need, the safety training. That would be the best way for our government to go. Train them on safety. Let them register those small mines. We are not taking away their ability to mine, but let them register so that we can be checking them periodically. So once they're educated, they start running the mines. We can have an evaluation team to go in maybe on a quarterly basis, make sure they are safe, because these are our people. These are the people who voted us into office. And so we must do that which is right as a New Dawn government. MMD didn't do a good job. PF didn't do a good job. And so it gives us an opportunity to do a better job at this one. For these other mines, we are okay. But it's these individuals, our people, our brothers and sisters. I lived in Chingola myself. I spent my mining years in Chingola, so I know those open pits, those pits. And you know one thing, when a mine is being closed under mine management regulations, there is what is called a caretaker who is supposed to remain. For example, Konkola mines, Konkola Deep used to pump 100,000 cubic of water per hour. If that is left without a caretaker, it will flood the mine, it will flood the city. But because there was a caretaker, that has been prevented, which was good. So even for these people, who is a caretaker? The caretaker is the government. And because the government is a caretaker, the government needs to give them these implements and train them and regulate them and make them better at generating their revenue. Thank you so much. I think I've talked a lot.
Oh, yes, Mr. Chair, you have schooled us. Well, I wanted to say something, but let me not. Let me edit myself. So very valid points. Hopefully, Minister Kabuswadi's team will pick that up, or if they are not doing, what you've suggested here. So I think with that being said, unless if somebody has anything to add on, I think we move on. We move on to the next one. Anyone? Deep think you've been too quiet. Are you still in Florida?
Well said, Chair. I agree with you. People need to be trained. Safety training is very, very important. I've done HVAC training here, heating and cooling, AC.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that we did was for about 5 weeks, it was the safety. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's when we went into the details of HVAC. So safety is very, very important.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Safety very, very, very important. For Mwalanda, but here it's very, very uplifting in terms of educating our people and see how we can do these things. Like my mountains, it's everybody has been every government has been coming there to Kubapela, like you say, okay, let's give our local people these mountains, but there hasn't been any safety programs that are put in place.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is very, very tantamount and very true. We need to put up certain programs so that Abantu, they don't end up dying because of gold or because of copper and everything. But for Malanda, it's very, very, very important, and it needs to be really grilled down so that the Abantu in the government can start thinking like, look, let's not just use the Black Mountains for political purposes or gaining popularity or for getting some votes. Let's also think of Abantu abalebomba kulia, because they're somebody else's child, somebody else's kid.
Mm-hmm.
So let's really look at them and say, look, Bantu as well, but these are our children, and they can put in certain measures so that you know that you're safe. And there was one time there was one of the mines, people died and stuff like that. It was really, really sad. But all these things, we need to make sure that let's make sure that abantu besu there to be safe. Even if you wake up in the morning, our parents are able to say, "Oh, my child has gone to work," without them having a headache. Is my child going to come back today? So yeah, those are the things that I think we can definitely put a stamp on it.
Thank you.
All right. Well said, gentlemen. I mean, I have nothing further to add, but to hope for the best. And all right, then we move on along. We're moving along. So unless if you've been living in under a rock or in a vacuum, by now you should have seen the pictures, the audio, the videos, the statement from our number one PF cadre, Mr. Edgar Chagwalungu, who is now out here crying foul, saying that the democratic space in Zambia has shrunk because people that have stolen from, government coffers are being questioned and arrested and taken to court. And he thinks that the wrangles that, in my view, he caused in the PF as a result of government interference. Of course, there's the Mao Sampa PF-led faction, and of course, Mr. Lungu's faction. So all those, according to him, contribute to our the shrinkage of the democratic space in Zambia. So, gentlemen, who wants to go first? I know somebody's itching. I'm trying to be democratic here, except for Deep Thinker who says he doesn't worry about. Yeah. Mr. Chair, you want to, come in here and knock some sense into the sixth president.
I know. It's pathetic. So my first question to the past president, Mr. Lungu, is how is he measuring the shrinkage of the democratic space? What is he using what yardstick does he have to say that the democratic space in Zambia has shrunk? I wish he could give a percentage. I wish he could say, give out the factors and the variables, because we do have yardsticks to measure the democratic space. During his reign, there was no freedom of speech. People could not even wear this color that I'm wearing, red, the one that symbolizes our party, UPND. People could wear like the beret that the Deep Thinker has in fear. They could wear it, but really scared that the PF militia would get you. So during the PF, there was even a militia that was mushrooming, that came upon the scene. That's number one. People at the bus stations were subject to any form of harassment, beating, or whatever you may term it, by the PF thugs. And those who were in government, if you belong to a certain a group, as they designated it, you could be terminated in the so-called national interest. The judiciary was not free. In the police, he infused PF cadres who shot people at will. And I really wish those cadres could be identified and prosecuted right now, because they brought fear in the country. So when he says the democratic space has shrunk, what yardstick, Mr. President, Mr. Former President, are you using? Because we do have a yardstick to measure your democratic space. A lot of people lost their lives. Chibulo lost her life. There was that girl at Unza who lost her life. There are so many people who were pointed guns, like short range. The police were just doing that with impunity. There were a lot of appeals made to Mr. Kanganja, the IG. He didn't do anything. Remember when Miti and colleagues were protesting, they had to go in the bush. Remember that time? They had to protest in the bush, and the police were waiting for them right in Lusaka. They couldn't find them. Remember HH in Mongo when he escaped death. Mr. Longo has not gone through that. Remember HH right on top of some radio station in Indola, running downstairs, running from these people. Remember when HH landed in Chipata and there was this police officer in charge named Mr. Longo. He said, you cannot come into Chipata. I remember that picture so vivid. HH standing with a bag behind a gate. But those are the yardsticks that we are using. Remember Nevas Mumba and his MMD people, how they were smoked out in Chipata of a classroom. They were campaigning. They threw tear gas. These people were just sitting down talking, and the police threw tear gas. That's the space that we didn't have. Now we have space, and somebody comes up with a fallacious argument, which doesn't even have merit, and says the democratic space has shrunk. No, Mr. Lungo, the democratic space actually is growing from where you left it. You might probably have left it at 0. Now people can speak. Now people can insult the president. Of course, we do have the law, and the law must take its course. So the democratic space has not shrunk. It's growing. It's a perception right here. It's a perception from his head, which is not right. Thank you.
Yeah. Well said, but yeah. Well said.
Yes. That's what we get. Well said, but I only just determine just for a minute. Lungo held a gigantic, humongous press conference, and there was nobody that went to stop his press conference on Wednesday.
Exactly.
So really, how do you measure the democratic space? Anyway, Mr. Turuka, you are eating in. Please come on before we get to the deep thinker.
No, I mean, he went on there and said a lot of things, but I was looking for something really, like as a Zambian, as a local person, I was looking for something that is gonna tell us that's different. Okay, I didn't get anything. I didn't get anything from that press conference. I'm sorry, but I didn't get anything. I was waiting for something huge, something that's different. What are you going to do differently? Like, why would people want to invite you back or vote for you? What are you going to do that's better than what HH is doing? I didn't hear any of those things. He didn't come up with any kind of tangible solutions for anything in terms of economic development in the country. So us as people that we actually study these things and look at these things, we're like, if you're not going to give me anything, why would I come and vote for you next time in 2026? You're not giving me anything. Like, really, like how are you marketing yourself? Yep. You're marketing yourself as just somebody just woke up today and say, I want to do this just for the sake of, because you hate somebody, and because you hate that HH is the president now. You hate him because he's a Tonga, and you hate him because you thought he would never be a leader. Now he's the leader, now he's the president, and then you're not even giving. What are you giving us? Nothing.
Yep.
So I am, I'm like, I'm looking and watching. I'm like, I think I'd rather go and watch HH, what he's doing. Even if he's saying he's traveling, I'd rather do that. Watch why he's traveling, why he's bringing all these businesses, why he's coming together and combining our efforts, and that's what I would rather do. And not watching something that's not giving me any meaning. Like what was the purpose of that? Nothing.
To see his tears, didn't you see it was at the blink of? To me, really, that was the most important thing.
Yeah.
And I also tried to judge if he had taken Jameson that morning. Now, that's a topic for another day.
Yes.
You think I know you say you don't care for the man. Come along and give us your thoughts on your best friend.
I really don't care for that man because he doesn't have a message for the Zambians. He doesn't have a message for PF because that was a waste of time. that press conference. However, I want to say this to Lungu. If you're listening, or if somebody who talks to Lungu is listening, when you say government systems are compromised, and you named the judiciary, the executive, don't make a blanket statement that government institutions are compromised, because you're trying to say the intelligence system is compromised, the army is compromised, because those are all arms of government. Now, if you're telling us that the army is compromised, you need to clarify that point, because you're bordering on national security there. And when the law visits you, don't cry foul, because Lungu is a child. He's a grown man, but he's a child. You can see the way he's sitting at the stadium, the way he's talking. He is a child. Let's just take him like that.
Sad.
He thinks politics and running a government mantombwa. This is not mantombwa. HH is running a government for the Zambians.
Hold on, deep thinker.
What is
Explain it to me,
Mantombwa? I
Sir.
want
What
to
does
ask an explanation on that one.
Mantombwa
What is Mantombwa?
I know.
Yeah. This is not child play.
What is Mantombwa?
When you're playing child play in a serious serious business like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know. So this is not Mantombwa. This is real serious business. It borders on lives of people. People were dying. People were starving.
Yes.
People were beaten during his reign as the president. He was presiding over that. Whether he was actively involved or not, he had the power to stop it. So the fact that he didn't stop it means that he was presiding over that thuggery that went on. You cannot come and try to humble yourself without a message to a press conference and to talk about Mingarato. Sit down. I need you to sit down. Relax, Lungu. Sit down. Don't dare the president, because when you start talking about compromising national security, you are opening the door to jail for yourself.
What is Mingarato? Excuse me. What is Mingarato?
Mingarato means dribbling.
Okay.
So
Dribbling. Right there.
All right. Go
so
on,
Lungu needs to
deep
play.
Yep.
Lungu needs to come out and tell us what is it that is compromised. That's number one. Number two, when you talk about democracy, how do you, Lungu, define democracy? Because if you ask Saddam Hussein when he was still living, that was democracy to him. So how do you define democracy? Letting loose the thugs is democracy for you, Lungu? Come on, sit down. Sit down, Lungu, sit down.
Yeah. I don't think of Lungu as anything that he can give us in terms of famous Zambians. I don't think he can give us something that we've never seen. The only thing we saw was Abantu being shot, Abantu being, compromised. There was no proper democracy. So that's the only thing that we remember. Now, if today he wakes up and Batampo Kulandawati is like suddenly he's got a eureka moment, trying to say, "Oh, our number." I
like the term eureka.
Yeah, like all of a sudden he's got a eureka moment. No.
Yeah. No.
You don't have the eureka moment. The man right now is Hakainde Ichilema is the main man.
Yes.
And he's giving us what we want. We don't want you, Vane. We don't want you, Valungu. And there's nothing that you can tell us.
Yes.
Because what you've done, or what you did, or what your government represented at that point was very, very bad for the Zambian people. There's no Zambian right now that, in their true sense, can come up and say, "Oh, we want Lungu back." It's impossible. But I mean, you made a mistake. You should have just, sat down. That's what you should have done. As a president, as a former president, enjoy your retirement. Chapwa. Why would you want to come back? Nokutambo kuchita mislead abantu. No. We don't want you for that. We never wanted you for that. You should have just listened to your wife or whoever advises you. But look, if your advisors, even Chimbakambwiri and all these other people, this is the reason why you're in this mess, because those are not legit people that you can listen to. Because if the people that cannot be trust, you cannot trust Chimbakambwiri, you cannot trust whenever a GBM. Those guys, they're looking at the what you call it, the pockets. That's what they look at, And I'm sorry to say this, but you're surrounded by people that don't have the right information, or they don't have the right. No, this is so sad. So sad.
What do I have to say? For me, I only have a few questions for Mr. Lungu. Mr. Lungu, what answers do you have for Sama's kid? Where are you when Joseph Kaunda was being killed? Where were you when Mabel? What's that kid's name? I keep. Oh God, Patricia, help me out here.
Which one?
The young lady was killed on the streets of Osaka. What's her name again?
Oh, Mapenzi.
Mapenzi Chibolo was killed. Where were you when that University of Zambia kid was killed in a dormitory? When you set police on them, where were you then? For you to come out now that the democratic space has shrunk, and simply because to you there's no democracy in Zambia right now because the police are arresting or the drug enforcement commission is calling up on your case to explain to the Zambian people where suddenly people have never even seen the inside of a university. These are your own kids. Suddenly they own 60 vehicles. Explain that. You tell me how somebody can drive through Great East Road, the Great Northeast Road, and get to Cinder, and just because their last name is Lungu, they fence off, hundreds of hectares of protected forest and claim it their own. Where were you then? Where were you when your wife was giving your niece $400,000 instead of putting it in the bank? Where were you then? Ask me that.
Instead of giving it to the students. Instead of giving it to the students.
Yes. Where were you?
They had abolished.
So many questions. Where were you when Zambians were not sleeping in their homes when they were being gassed every night? Answer me. Give me some very solid answers there. Then we can come back today and talk about the so-called democratic space that has shrunk. Your former vice president, Lubinda, was sweating in the courts. I'm not even going to give details because, suppose, I'm cited for contempt. Explain to your PF supporters what happened to the $2 million that you sold, the party property or land. Explain that. So then don't come in here and start telling me about the democratic space that has supposedly shrunk in your eyes. Okay, I'll end there because I can go on. I get passionate when I go that route. So anyway, let's now talk about normally I should have drunk. I need to have a glass of wine or something. So
Okay.
finally, Judge,
Madam Moderator.
who's that judge?
Madam
Mumba
Moderator.
in Kasama. Finally, the story that I've been waiting, or the verdict that I've been waiting for years, came to fruition this past, is that Tuesday? You know, I woke up that Tuesday morning and seeing CDF vehicle carrying, I'm sorry, Ibwili to jail.
Umwine
What
what
is
is
the caveat of my week of month? I know I shouldn't be, feeling this happy just thinking about it, but I'm just so happy. I know this is one topic people are comfortable to talk about, but hey, Chishimba Kambwili, or as they is called, Imbwili, was sentenced to 5 months in prison for hate speech. Finally, I think justice was served. I know that there's been some sentiments from other quarters that are saying, well, are you guys happy with the, with Imbuli? That was just campaign messaging, so we shouldn't have. I say absolutely not. 5 months is too short, but it sends a message.
It's too short.
That we Zambians are not going to allow somebody to divide us because they want to get into power on tribal lines. So anyway, gentlemen, let's start with the deep thinker Ibwili, 5 months in jail for hate speech. Your comment.
All right, my comment is simple. We talked about it, that justice is a slow process. And because of the kind of president and party that is leading, they want to make sure that when you are sentenced, that means there was due process, which was denied to people when Lungu was in power. So now things are beginning to come out, due process, 5 months. And I'm glad that Kambwili has been arrested, because now this is going to send a message to all politicians that are there to divide the country. They are going to learn a lesson, because he's not the first one.
Yes.
Lungu is also worried. If you listen to his press conference, he said they are arresting all these other people to get at me. So we are coming, those comments you're making that it won't be a Tonga leading, not this one, all those are tribal. We are following all that. So justice is visiting them slowly but surely, and they can't cry foul because they are given due process. And that's what I call democracy, different from what Lungu and PF define democracy as.
Thank you. Sister Kalinda, let me come in quickly. I have to drop off. I want to read the Penal Act, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia regarding Kambwili. 5 months is too short. For Section 70 criminalizes racial discrimination. It provides that any person who utters any words or publishes any writing expressing, showing hatred, ridicule, contempt for any person or group of persons wholly or mainly because of his or their race, tribe, place of origin, or color is guilty of an offense and is liable on conviction to imprisonment for a period not exceeding 2 years. Not exceeding 2 years. So that's the Penal Code Act, Chapter 87 for the laws of Zambia. That's what it says. That's the current law. 2 years, not exceeding 2 years. Okay, 2 years is the max. It doesn't state the minimum. So Kambwili was found guilty. There are audio tapes everywhere. He cannot now cry foul. Nobody can cry foul from anywhere, his cohorts, his president, or whatever. No, this man is guilty. And I wish the judge would have ordered him to serve a maximum of 2 years. That's what I wish. So this should be a deterrent. This is the democratic space which is improving, contrary to Mr. Lungu saying the democratic space is shrinking, or anybody who is saying the democratic space is shrinking. The democratic space is increasing because now the courts can bring due process to people who have done so much damage. Now, we all know what happened to Rwanda. We all know it's because of such utterances from political leaders, from people on the pulpit, people preaching, people bringing in the word of God through the tribal lens.
Absolutely.
Rwanda experienced a genocide that has never been experienced in the world. And I only wish the judge could have looked at this case from that angle and given the maximum sentence. However, for Kambwidi to save jail time, it's good so that it acts as a deterrence to many of these politicians who use the tribal whip to try to push their way to power. We commend the judge, but we wish it could have been more than 5 months. 5 months, 5 months to me is a small period of time. I hope he will change. I hope he will learn something. I hope politicians in Zambia have learned something, because this is a law and it needs to be applied. There are several other people who gave tribal comments. The example that I have is probably Munia Zulu. Munia Zulu was using terms that were using in Rwanda. Him too should be pursued. Him too should be locked up, put in jail. Tribal sentiments can throw the country into flames. It can inflame the country, and no one wants that.
Not at all.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's what the law says, Penal Code Act, Chapter 87 for the laws of Zambia. And he's guilty of that. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
That's fantastic. Let me just chime in on this one real quick. My name's Chanda Chirofia Chikamonega. And some of our names are not put out there for jokes. And it's because of who we are and what we represent, and that's what builds us and what makes us. Avena Bakambwiri and all these other party politicians and everything, they don't know, or they don't have where do you stand when it comes to what you represent. Today you're saying something else, tomorrow you're saying something else. We cannot trust Abantu Kwativalia. Those are not people that we can trust, because today they'll come up and mislead Abantu, and wow, the local people, Abantu Besu, they're following you, and then all of a sudden you change your mind. Like, so I was looking and reading and looking at everything as like, oh, wow, we need to have somebody that people can actually go and follow and trust, because if nobody can trust you, why would people come and it's really, really, really sad. Really sad. And when I come with those, I don't know. I don't want to say anything bad or anything negative because he's obviously an older man, very, very old. But if I had to say something, I would say, please go back to where you started. You know, I mean, people were actually were following you. Now, nobody's following you because you've changed camps. One day you was talking about, church was your best friend. The other day you were talking about Balungu being your what you call it, your arch enemy. You were saying you can never, ever, ever go back to PF. That's what you were saying. You were saying if PF I'm mad. But what happened? You're whining and dining with President Eddie Kalungu right now, Maman, because of the money, Maman. Hmm? And you forget, people forget. If you look at the history and if you look at what happened, really, if you want to come back to PF, we'll give you back all your money and stuff like that. Because there are a lot of money that the government was owing him, but he couldn't access that money because they say no, you're in opposition. We cannot give you. But these are the things because of money. In the Lamashwansesh, he had to sacrifice his reputation just because of money. Start supporting Valungu because of money. Nah. People shouldn't be like this. I mean, you should look at yourself and put an introspect in what you do in life, because you have to stand for something. If you can't stand for something, you fall for anything. So for Chava, like Avena Kambwiri, it's all about the belly. That's it. Mpamala. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, sir. Madam Moderator, are you there? Look like we've lost the moderator.
Oh. Yeah. She was deep thinker to refer my video.
Hey, we're just two of us.
Everybody has dropped out.
Yeah, but moderator is still there, but I think she wanted to get a glass of something. She talked about
Water.
wine.
She went to get a glass of water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
what I was saying was this. A deep thinker.
mm,
We need to understand these issues and see how we analyze them. Avena Kambwiri, those people, they're not really a factor right now. They're not really a factor because we have so many people that are actually up there that can contribute. Amalia Shianan when it comes to these politics and moving forward. And Kambwiri is not one of them. He's not one of them. Katrish, I don't know what you think.
Here's my take on the PF when Kambwiri, Ambassador Mamba, of Lubinda, all these guys. These guys are seeing that UPND is growing and developing the economy. They have the slightest hope that they will take over in 2026 so that they preside over the UPND and Zambian sweat and go back and do exactly what they were doing, just getting money any kind of way. Because because at the time they lost the power, the economy was on its knees. Now the man resigns and it starts getting presidential pecks. But then from out there, he's seeing that these guys, they're negotiating the mines. That means it's about to be big now. They're bringing these resources. The economy is, the UPND is working on that economy, and during that process, it's going to be hard for the Zambians. And then PF is looking at that. They know that the economy is going to grow. They know that the economy is going to develop. But they do not want UPND to enjoy the fruits of their labor. They are trying to get to people, because if you remember, Lungu said, if we can't get these things the democratic way, we'll go other means. So he's willing to do whatever it takes to destabilize the country. So we have to watch out for all that, because that's what I got. If you go to use other means than democratic means, then what are we supposed to think? They are ganging up because they know by 2026 the Zambian economy is going to be all close to autopilot, where it's running itself. And they want to preside on
the
that.
Zambian economy will be one of the largest in Africa. In fact, if you look at the projections and look at how everything is working out right now, look at how we're moving in terms of agriculture and everything else. We have actually, right now, there's a United Fertilizer Company that's now exporting fertilizer to Botswana and all these other countries. We're not seeing that right now, because people now they think, no, it's just a small. No. That on its own, if we're able to do that, Tanzania traced export fertilizer all the way from Zambia, made in Zambia. We're supporting other families, other farmers and stuff like that in other parts of the world. And then if we went to Fotuaba, we don't see these things, but we're there. And fertilizers are not being produced, or they're not being distributed. 100% real farmers, they're saying, but it's not going to go. No, I received 6 bags, 3 urea, 3 decompound. Real farmers, they're able to tell people, this is what I received, and then pamuru pampira nanankane input. So so these are the things that without being explained, or they're not seeing it, but it's there. If you are all these sharing bags and all that stuff, that's propaganda. That's really that's not the truth. Real farmers right now, they've got everything they have. We have to go and farm, chapwa, and everything. And in the next coming 2026, I'm telling you, I would want to see the track record from now to 2026.
But they see that there will be a lot of money in the government coffers. They are coming after somebody else's sweat. The economy is going to be looking too good for people to sit back and just watch it grow. They're seeing an opportunity for them to do some mischievous things. That's why I'm not worried about them, because the whole press conference, what is it that a Zambian can buy and say, yeah, I'm going to support PF and Lungu. What was said? Nothing.
Nothing.
It's just a child crying to the mother, not knowing what they're crying about. You know. So I say to President HH and UPND, give PF something to cry about. Bring their cases to court and let the process deal with them.
No, that's true. You know, he brought himself in the arena, so he needs to be prosecuted. In what Bananikani was talking about is like, look, I think we need to start looking at the cases and can we prosecute him for the the times that he was claiming to be retirement when he wasn't. He needs to give us that money back. You know, he needs to give us that money back because we need to get that money and take it back to the Kuma students and everybody else, because he was claiming to be retired when he wasn't retired.
Yeah, pretending to be retired.
He wasn't retired. He was still, in active politics. He was still in active politics. So we need that money back. That money needs to be taken back. Hey, our student, Unza.
Correct.
Take that money back to Unza. Tapwa. Don't.
Oh God! Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now, Madam Moderator. You just left us like Lungu left the Zambian people.
I'm surprised. I had to reboot my whole system here. It's Sunday. Everything is working in reverse. But I heard everything that you guys were talking about. And I kept on saying, hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me? But it's all good. I'm back now. And we are so joined by our one and only Mr. Kalapa. He is joining in, and pretty sure he knows what we're talking about. Mr. Kalapa, do you want to chime in on any of the topics that we have so far talked about?
Not now. I heard everything that you've been saying. I'm following.
Okay,
good.
Great. So that's good. So then we move on. And you guys, I know you're about to fear. You delved into Mr. Lungu returning back what he owes or what he owed because of him coming back into politics. But I think that's a tall order, don't you guys think so? I mean, if we go by history, that's what I was being schooled the last time. You know how passionate I am on that subject. But then if we go by the history, Mr. Kaunda, he flooded around the idea, and he came back briefly, and he went back, and he resumed his money. You think? Do you honestly think that Mr. Lungu is going to return any of the money that has been paid so far? Truthfully speaking.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's sort of like it's a little bit difficult and hard to understand. But look, what happened with Kaunda, that was a different analysis and different situation. When it comes to Valungu, is also a very different situation, because actually we were not reading these things. We were not reading these things. Now you can go back and read and see what the Constitution says, see what stipulates it and everything. That's why everything actually. So now we can go back and read, and it will tell us, according to the law itself, he's supposed to give us back that money. Chapa. Law fe kuko ikonka fe mwaberenga fe. Yeah, go and read it. They need to tell you. You know, sometimes we're not reading these things, but now we can read. Anybody can go there and read and pull up and see what it says. And it says Valungu, because of what he did, he was pretending to be retired when he wasn't retired. He was pretending. And according to all Emma documents, their own Patriotic Front documents, they're saying that no, he's been our president, he didn't retire. So if somebody wasn't did not retire, he was the president, it means, especially with Boma Luzambo, is the person that they actually Valungu can go and blame, because he was the one in the forefront. Valungu is still our president. So if there's anybody that Valungu should blame, is Boma Lusambo, because Boma Lusambo, your own bootlicker, told the country of Zambia that he was not retired. He was still a president. And if you're not retired, you're still a president, it means what does the documents say? If you're still in active politics, then you cannot access Ndara machine. So
I think that's a little bit. I mean, you know, when you look at Borman, and Borman can say whatever he wants. I think, you know, in the court of law, what matters is what's on paper, what's in black and white. So unless, I mean, I know there's been these rumors that Mr. Lungu, you know, wrote 2 letters, one to the party and the other one to the government. So I mean, I haven't seen what he wrote to the party to say otherwise. So I think that's a tall order.
No, I mean, what it is this: if you write a letter to the government, that's all we need. The government is supreme. Okay, so they're what we call supreme laws. I mean, you can have your own constitution as a political party, but the constitution of the country is supreme.
Right. Well, I guess let's wait on the government's findings. As you know, they're saying they will rely on their experts. I mean, the legal minds to translate what Mr. Lungu's return of, you know, of politics will look like in terms of, you know, getting that money back. So I think let's wait on that. And now that's a message from our able communications. Do you call them communications minister? The government spokesperson, Mr. Cornelius Mwetwa himself. I think he's been hammering the last 2 weeks on that. So we wait on what, you know, what the findings will decide. So I think since we mentioned Borman, I think let's go ahead and just go back and tackle his recent pronouncement that he was actually, you know, if he elected at the National Patriotic Front convention, which I don't know when that will be, that he's actually going to be on the 2026 presidential ballot. Gentlemen, do you see a president bulldozer Borman Lusambo in, you know, at the end of August in 2026? Your take. Let's start with you, deep thinker. Oh, we've lost deep thinker, have we? I guess we have, but I see him over here. What about you, Mr. Kalapa? What do you think of Mr. Bulldozer? There is a deep thinker. Oh, he's gone again.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Kalapa.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to stand. I know, you know, the problem with the Patriotic Front people, they don't know the law. They read, but they don't understand the law. So I think it's gonna backfire on him. I know he's gonna campaign whatever he can do, but at the end of the day, they'll just tell him that you do not qualify, or even before it reaches there, he might find himself in jail. Because there are so many cases.
Okay. Oh, Mr. Kalapa. He'll find himself in jail. Okay. Dear Thinker, please come in. I see you waving your hand over there. I can't hear you. Is it just me? Let me see. Have you unmuted yourself? I can't hear you. Can anyone hear the deep thinker?
No, we can't hear him. We can only see the picture now.
No, we can't hear you.
Oh, yeah, he's signaling. I guess he'll be back. Yeah, Mr. Chilufya, do you see Mr. Bulldozer as your president in 2026?
Nah, I don't even know why he would think of throwing himself in the in a pot like that, because as Zambians we're looking at better things and better ideas, and I don't think Valusambo can provide us with what we want as a country, you know. And if you look at what he represents an institution that's killing people, an institution that's bullying people, an institution that's not for the people of Zambia. It doesn't represent what us as a Zambian. So why would he become a president? And why would anybody, vote for him? There's no way in hell that he can be a president, and we've seen that. And to be honest, people now are looking at better things, greater things. They want tangible solutions to the problems that we're facing in the 21st century. And if you don't have any of that in your speech, then what are you talking about? Like, who are you going to save? You don't have any solution. Tell us this. All I want is a solution. That's all I want. I mean, that's what every Zambian wants. Chimochi, he's whatever is president. Like, give me a solution. I don't want to hear about your problems. Give me a solution. Give me a tangible, a solution to say, oh, I'm going to, when I become the president, I'll do this. How am I going to do it? I'll provide jobs for people. How am I going to do it? I'll do this A, B, C, D. Like, what are you doing? Like, finish whatever. That's all I want to hear. Like, what are you going to tell us? Vera Lusambo, there's nothing to tell us. We know who he is. He's just a bully. He's just a guy that we have him street slapping people and stuff like that. And that's what we know him for. Simple.
Okay, deep thinker, you want to come in? Do you see
Yes.
President Lusambo at the end of 2026?
I see Lusambo as PF president. That's about it. And hear me here. It doesn't surprise me after I see Zuma becoming president, Lungu becoming president, Kabila becoming president. I can go on and on and on. Even this drunkard Kenyatta became a president. You see, Lungu came in and telling people that he had no vision.
But he was the humble one.
But you see, the humbleness Lungu had is because he was relying on people in the grassroots, organized by people like Lusambo and them.
Mm.
Let's not underestimate the power of people like Lusambo at the grassroots level
Oh.
and in the rural areas. Let's not forget that people, grassroots people, they like strong people. Strong people.
Mm.
If you look at even Trump, the way he became president, you know, people could identify with him, and that's how he ascended to the highest office. Lusambo should not be underrated because even Sata, if you look at Sata, he really wasn't a common politician like that.
Mm.
Sata was a go-getter. The way he cleaned out Lusaka when he was governor, and then whichever ministry he went, he was people like that. So Lusambo could be the president of PF, but not the Republican president.
Yeah. But deep think, I think on that one, I would disagree.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the comparisons Mwaleta between Michael Chilufya Sata, what he did, because first of all you have to look at the track record. Bashukuru Chilufya Sata, what he did was, before everything else, before he became a president, we can go back and look at what he did.
Correct.
As a councillor, as somebody who built Kajema, as somebody that built all these things, like so many things that I don't even know where to begin. What he did. What has Lusambo done? Can somebody tell me that, oh, Lusambo built this, Lusambo did this, or he came up with this idea? Okay, because if you look at Chilufya, Michael Sata, just on Kajema alone, he built houses that were affordable for the local people. So that's one thing. What has Lusambo done apart from just being an MP for Kabushi? And if you look at Kabushi there, if you go in deep down, people, they don't have water.
So,
okay.
So can I respond to that?
Go ahead.
If you look at Sata, on his way to the presidency, Sata I don't think he became president based on the developments that he did during Kaunda's time. Because Sata failed a couple of times to get the presidency based on his record. Then it became based on his mouth. If you remember very well, Sata was crushing everybody on the way, using not because of his skills in developing areas, but in his skills talking. He talked to Rupiah Banda like Rupiah Banda was a child who doesn't deserve presidents. His mouth produced things that common people bought. Just like Trump, his mouth gets the people that are in that space to vote for him.
No, money never deep thinker. Here's the thing. When you're becoming a politician or a leader, it has to be a world-rounded thing. It's not a simple thing like and you start slapping people on the street and you think that you're a leader. No. It has to build. And if you look at it, Rashkuru Basata, what he did was this. He did what he did in terms of groundwork. Whenever he was working, everywhere we can all go and confirm, say, this is what he did, this is what he built. And on top of that, of course, you're saying he was a loud mouth. He was talking.
He talked.
Yes. You're talking about that's an added advantage. But if it was just all talk with no nothing that we can look at, nobody would have voted for him because people were looking. I can tell you one thing: people was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I did that. It's not that it wasn't all about just talk. Talk wasn't the main thing that people of Zambia voted for him.
Let me say this.
It was just an added advantage.
Yes. Let me say this about Bowman. Bowman, wherever he went, at least at the time I was there, Zambia, Mulusaka, Bowman was a crowd puller. People followed Bowman.
Because he was dishing out 50 kwachas.
And he's going to do the same thing.
No, he doesn't have the money anymore. Haven't you seen how he looks like now?
Correct. But what we need to remember is that Lungu is looking for a protector. And when he finds that person,
they don't have the money. But deep think I'm on the Tamushibe Fide sticker. Valungu, Vaboman Tawakwete Ndalama. Even if they have the money, that money is all sealed and it's all, you know what I mean? There's no way they can access that money.
True. But remember, when Lungu came from Zimbabwe and was trying to go to North Korea, let's not underestimate.
South Korea.
But South Korea, yes. So, thank you. Let's not forget that Lungu has a cloud outside of the country. Let's not forget that.
No.
And Mnangagwa is a very dangerous man to be a neighbor. I talked about national security a few weeks ago. These guys, let's not underestimate them. By now, after Sampa took over, if these guys did not have a connection, they would have fought Sampa tooth and nail publicly more than they're doing right now. They would have fought Sampa tooth and nail all the way over that move. They have somewhere. They have somewhere where they lean on and rely on. Lungu, for me, I have from the beginning, I've said, I'm not worried about the politics of Lungu. My major concern is Lungu becoming a national security issue. Because money can come from outside.
I mean, we are talking as if we don't know. I mean, we're just assuming that our government is sitting on their laurels without really looking at all those, variables.
Correct. The government is looking at it, but politics is politics. We don't know why Kaiser Zulu is still at large.
I think when the time comes, I'm very confident that Kaiser Zulu will be brought back to the country to face his charges.
True.
It might not be today or tomorrow, but he's on the way.
But what is he doing outside? You think he's sitting quietly?
And are we saying our intelligence are also just sitting quietly, looking, just letting him do whatever he wants to do out there?
Yeah. So that's my major fear with Lungu. That's the only fear I have. Outside influence. Because he doesn't have inside influence.
Okay, because I know this topic might go on and on and on. So I'll let you guys do the tick and that, because sometimes I like to do that like that, so I can learn one or two things. Mr. Kalabanis, if you have nothing to add on, we'll move on to the next topic.
Of course, let's move on.
Go ahead, Kalaba.
That's a very good conversation about Bowman Usambo, Lungu's motive. But, I think these guys, they're underestimating HH or the UPND government. because they think of what they did or how tough they were being a lawless government. They think that they can get away with it. The way Cornelius Mwetwa said that, the legal mind, or they are looking at it, then they will see what they can do. They don't want to approach Lungu as if they are coming from, as if it's going to be a political move. No, it's going to be a government move whereby you told people that you are no longer a president, but you are getting the money. So what I wish Cornelius Mwetwa or the people in the government could start telling the people that we want to get money and give it, either like just say direct, we want to give it to the students, because that way they all know that whatever money they'll get, this is where the money is going. Even when they get it, they should at least somehow present a check. This is the money that we took from Lungu. We are giving it to, so that everybody can see. That's the only way of winning people, so that it shouldn't be seen as a political move. Lungu is wasting his time. I know he can run around. The reason why he's arrogant, if you see the way he's behaving, because he knows that he has a lot of money and he knows where the money is, but he's forgetting that even the government, they know where the money is, but they just want to follow the law. Boma Lusambo right now, he's quiet because he knows that they have really squeezed him. All his money, he cannot access it. No wonder you see him, he comes on and off. He's not vocal the way he was. Now he understands the law when it comes to how you acquired the money, how they can get everything. So Lungu, he's playing those politics because he knows how much money he has. He doesn't care that he's gonna pay back. He knows he's gonna pay back because he has a lot of money. But there shall come a time when they'll start squeezing him where his heart is. That's when he's gonna feel it.
Correct.
It's coming. Bowman Lusambo, the picture I saw of him in Kabwe, I thought, who is this person? He looks disoriented. Yeah. He looks out of it. I couldn't believe it. And it's only been 2 years. And here I'm going to predict this. What's today? The 4th of December. By December of next year, I see all these people being locked up. Not illegally, but legally, because of what they have done to the people of Zambia. 4th of December next year, we'll come back and have this discussion. How about that? But that's my prediction. That's where my ancestors, my spirits from Lugwala village have told me today. Or my spirit, from Shikatenda village have told me today that next year is going, just watch out, 2024. That is the year we are going to see a lot of these people go in legally because of the things that they have done to Mother Zambia, starting with Bowman himself. So I'll leave that discussion there because we will revisit it, and now let's talk about the compensation galore that happened this past week.
Oh, we haven't discussed that one. Yeah. Oh my God.
Now, in opera's voice, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car.
Compensation.
Oh my goodness, compensation.
That's a huge topic, actually.
Yes. Well, we start with the former, if you don't say the former, we start with the transport minister, Frank Toyali. He got people talking with his 450,000 kwacha compensating as a reason that he got because of that gun that was pointed at him at Supreme Court as he escorted then opposition party president, now Republican president Bali, to court. And that's the day we lost Sama, isn't it? And
was that the same? Yes, it was.
Yeah, that's
I remember correctly. Because they were coming from police headquarters.
Yeah, that's Yeah, they were going to court. They were going to the High Court, Supreme Court. So Samantha got killed that day, as well as Joseph Kaunda, isn't it? Yeah. So they got killed that day on the streets of Lusaka. That's why I get emotional sometimes when when Lungu comes up and says, "Oh, our democratic space is shrinking." Yeah, so that's one, and then we have Mwalitek and his crew who were given 900,000 this week because of they were picked up as arsonists. Was it arsonists, or what was they charged with? Espionage or something. Was that during the 2015, 2016 presidential results in Osaka? Remember when a group of them were out there trying to what they were trying to do, trying to grab pre-marked ballot papers in Osaka, and then they were picked up and thrown in jail, and they spent months and months. So they got themselves 900,000 kwacha. Who else did I miss in the conversation galore we had this past week? Who else? Bachelofia. Who else did I miss? Am I the only one talking here?
I think you didn't miss anybody.
I didn't miss anybody. All right.
Yeah, those are the right people.
So those were so anyway, gentlemen. No, actually, before I ask this question, so we had people. I mean, the Lungu camp or the opposition camp saying, "Well, this is the way the UPND has gone to fraudulently, corruptly, pay their people, their cadres, lots and lots of money, out of state coffers." So basically, they are screaming corruption. And in my book, I'm saying, look, if you are going to point a gun at me for nothing, I will sue the state for emotional. I need somehow the money needs to take care of my mental health. Because it's not a joke to look at a gun that you're thinking this person is going to fire at you at any given minute or second. For me, I think 450,000, it's nothing. Going by, what Mr. Tayali's family, wife, kid, mother, brothers, sisters, cousins, you name it, went through looking at those videos, pictures, and on the other hand, Mwaliteta spent months for trumped up charges because after a month on end, the state entered a nole or something, or the judge, released them after being in prison for almost 6 months. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's one of those people with his men that really spent a lot of time behind months over trumped up charges. So 900,000 kwacha, can't even begin to cover what they went through behind bars. So anyway, your take, gentlemen. Let's start with you, Mr. Kalapa, and then we go to the deep thinker.
Yeah, I think when I look at Mwaliteta, because I know the case so well, I know what he went through. I saw. He deserves. In fact, it's not even enough, because I know it just happened because it's the UPND government. But any government that would have followed the law, they would have compensated Mwaliteta a long time ago. It's just long overdue. It just happened that it's the same party, but he deserved it. That man suffered a lot, and the votes that he was protecting, it would have exposed the PF they stole. That was between Mwaliteta and Mumbipiri.
Yes,
they had to fight.
Exactly.
So the reason why they put him in jail was to silence him, because he knew what he was gonna say. So they had to put him in there so that everything can be, once everything quiets down, then they were able to get him out. He wasn't willing to get out. He would have said, okay, take me out, I'll keep quiet. But he did not want to do that. So he sacrificed a lot for the party, for his family, and also for his life. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Deep thinker. You need some water.
I do agree that those people needed to be compensated for the suffering, and my president needs to be compensated also for how much trauma when you are threatened treason over nothing and you are placed in Mukobeko. He needs to be compensated. Even if he doesn't need the money, in my vocabulary, he needs to be compensated. But here's the very unfortunate thing. The unfortunate thing is that, a clown is a clown. Whether you put that clown in a leadership or not, a clown is a clown. So we probably need laws that protect people's money. So the compensation should go to the party that messed up. You cannot go in and purposely mess up and have the taxpayers pay the compensations. It doesn't
Correct.
work like that. So we need PF should have from their coffers should be made to compensate these people because they did it on purpose. They put HH in prison without a case. So I need to see a law that points fingers at the political party that has messed up, and we all know they've messed up. Get from your coffers and pay these people that you have caused suffering to. That's my take. I agree they needed to be compensated, 100%.
Wow. You couldn't have put that, any clearer than that. I think for me, really, I'd like to not point the finger or the picture at the PF. I'd like to point the finger at the police themselves. So those overzealous policemen, I hope they're not serving anywhere the corridors of power of police. Because I mean, if you are sworn in as a policeman, your job is to serve the people, not a political party. And if you are swayed, you have not enough conviction to serve the people. You shouldn't be there to begin with. So I think for me, if we went that route, that would teach our men and women in the uniform to act professionally at all times, no matter what, regardless of the situation. That would be my take on that, because just punishing or meting out punishment to political parties, because these political parties, they are here today, out tomorrow. So I think we need to be looking at the bigger picture. The bigger picture would be the men and women in uniform. That's the bigger picture to me. That's what I look at. That's the way I look at it. So people like before you come in deep thinker, people like that woman who was singing sausage, and she's thinking about her $1 million buses. Because she's supporting the PM. Those are the people that I think should be the ones paying the price. So Deep Thinker come in before Mr. Chilufya, share his sentiment.
But a moderator.
Yes.
The political space has to be created where people can act professional. As a police officer, you are left without a choice when the thugs in the street have more power than you. The thugs can take over a police station, a police space, and you are not protected by the sitting president. It's very, very difficult to be professional. As a headmaster of a school, during PF, if Ilungu came with 10 people of his choice and said, you have to take these people, even if I'm full in my school, I have to take them, because that was the political situation in the country at the time. It did not require people to be professional, because the man at the top himself was not professional. So it was tough on everybody.
In that scenario that you just gave, Mr. Deep Thinker, I will feign an illness just not to do that. But anyway, that's me thinking on another level. Mr. Chufia.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Chufia.
Hello, Medicine. I don't know. I just stopped. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah, loud and crystal clear. Come on
you.
in. Let's talk about the compensation galore that happened this past week.
Okay. Okay. Take it back. What are we looking at?
We're looking at the pros and cons of the courts compensating mostly UPND supporters for all the heinous crimes that were committed against them.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, look, it's we need to compensation of it has to be given, and Montuli also say, when you go through some sort of a disadvantage and people are killed, you have to be compensated. Like, it has never happened in the history of Zambia. That's one thing we need to think about. In the history of Zambia, nobody has ever been compensated for the wrong and everything else that happened. There's always story after story. But look, the current government is saying, look, let's compensate people. So if this is happening right now, as a government, they're looking at people, Sama, everybody else, and Mackenzie, the family, they lost somebody. It's a family, and they lost somebody that they love somebody in the family. And it happens worldwide. Actually, even here in developed countries, you can always take, or take your government to task, and the government will pay you back for whatever they do something wrong to you. For Mozambique, even here in the developed countries, these things are happening. These things are not. It's not like something that all of a sudden is happening. No. It's been happening for the last whatever years. It's been happening, but it's because the Lungu and the government, they didn't want to present all these issues to Avantime, so that they understand that, look, if something like this happens to me, I can be able to sue the government. And it was never an issue, and it was nothing. But now people, they know the laws, and they know they can read, and they can say, oh yeah, you know what, this happens to me, I can go back. I can go back and ask, why is this happened to me? Why was my child killed?
Absolutely, Mr. Chufia. As in Tonga would have said, Maya Sanondo. You know what that means?
No.
It means deep thinker. Can you?
You're right on point. You're right on point.
You have correctly, if it's translation. You have correctly knifed up, the gizzard. You know, that's what that means. Yeah, just to add on, I mean, I know Deep Think wants me to not really pay attention to the police officers because of the situation that they were operating at the time. I'm saying, for me, really, I still stand by that, statement, because here in America, guess who pays? It's not the government; it's the state, the department, like I mean, the most famous case that we have here, the George Floyd case. $25 million was paid by the Minneapolis city to George Floyd's family. Over here in Ohio, Breonna Taylor, the young lady who was killed by police officers as they were looking for her boyfriend in her apartment. The city of Ohio paid $20 million to the family, and the list goes on. So I stand by that statement. The government of Zambia is poor to be paying up all these monies for foolishness. Excuse my French. Behaviors, by our policemen. I think those policemen have to be held accountable, regardless the situation, regardless the pressure. Because come on, these jobs they come in with their own, stress and pressure. So if you cow down under every pressure, then yeah, no wonder it's easy to corrupt Zambia police. I'm just saying, yeah, because I've corrupted the Zambia police with the bottom of mercy before. So that's a topic for another day. Anyway, gentlemen, I think we're all done. It's been over 2 hours. I think we should close the shop this afternoon. But unless if anybody else have anything to say, I do have my rant, of course, for the week.
I do have a rant.
Go ahead.
Viva UPND! Viva!
Viva!
Viva HH! Viva!
Viva!
Abash PF and their corrupt tendencies. Abash! That's my rant. That's my rant.
Oh my word. Mr. Kalapa, you have any rant for the week?
Not really. I just want the law to take its course against all the PF guys that wronged the people, because it also reminds me of the lady that they used to beat, that one who used to sell vegetables.
Oh, yeah.
The one who was
Yes,
recognized by the
in
president.
Long Acres. Yes.
So I think someone mentioned that the money should be coming from the PF secretariat. They have the money. I think they need to be squeezed too.
Correct.
Because if you look at that lady, it wasn't the police, it was the thugs.
Nice.
All right, you got a point. Mr. Tufia.
It's a very. I can agree with everybody what they're saying over Rwanda. Bamayo bari tomato ya kunankaneko. I think it was what is it? What I can't remember the place, but
It's in Long Acres, I believe.
in Long Acres.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, we respect her, and what she did was she contributed, and I think she was compensated at one point. And
From the UPND, I think the UPND are the one that compensated her. If my memory serves me right, yeah.
Yeah, so I think she was compensated at one point, but that just shows you that what we've been doing, it's been going on for years, and I want to about the there's some certain people that feel like they have the authority or feel like they should be compensated more than anybody else. I think these things. I think these issues, the secretariat needs to go down and really look at who can we compensate, who shouldn't be compensated. Like, I want to they want to be compensated.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people, I mean, want to be compensated. Yeah, I mean, they can. All they have to do is sue, find a lawyer, go sue. I mean, that's what this. The only difference between Mwali Teta or Frank Tayali is that they have lawyers who, so maybe like you said, maybe the UPN needed to create a desk, and in every district, and say anybody that's still wronged by the political process that we're coming from, come forward, and we engage our lawyers to sue on your behalf. Maybe that will be the way to go. But I think this is open. If you feel aggrieved, you can sue. I mean, you don't have to wait for the party. You can sue yourself. I mean, the only difference here is that these are the people that are in the mainstream, political arena that we know. But if you remember that, what's that? The girl at university, her family sued. They got 500,000, I think, 3-4 years ago in PF. They got whether they were paid, I don't know, but her family sued, and they got 500,000. I don't know about the young lady who was killed on the streets. That name always, Mr. Chirika always has to help me.
Oh, Mapenzi.
Mapenzi, I don't know whether the family sued or we just, So all these people, I mean, Joseph
they didn't sue. They were just scared of the PF. Maybe now they can do that.
Yeah, they can go. I mean, it's not too late.
I think the family has been paid now. I think she's one of the beneficiaries of all this stuff.
Yeah. What about Joseph Kaunda's family?
I think the family was paid.
What about Joseph Kaunda, family? What about Samansama's family? All these people.
So one of the things we need to consider is that suing requires a lot of money. If you live in Lugwaro, and the case is in Lusaka, you have to travel back and forth. So the families that don't have resources, letting go is the only way they know how to. It happened, let's just move on. Because you live in Lugwalo.
I take great exceptions to that, deep thinker. What do you think about my people in Lugwalo? You think, anyway, the truth speaking, they have no court in Lugwalo. The closest would be Choma High Court.
Correct. And you have the legal resources you have now, you have to travel back and forth. The case is put for next week. So next you go back and you have to travel again. So it becomes more costly trying to get justice.
Yes, maybe we should also leave it to the Law Association of Zambia. They need to encourage lawyers to take up these cases pro bono, and then share the spoils at the end of the case.
True.
That's another way to do it.
True.
I mean,
that's another way. But how many people in Lugwalo know that?
We have plenty of lawyers from Lugwalo, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. In Iwengwa, we don't have a lot.
Let's not go to Wengwa, deep thinker. Let's not go there.
In Iwengwa, I have to sell the cows to go to the court. No.
Yeah, even my people in Lugwalo have to sell cows to go to Choma.
It's very costly. It's very, very expensive.
Yeah, even my people in Shikatendo have to sell cows to go to Lusaka. So anyway, gentlemen, my rant today, of course, there's no other way. There's no way I can close the show without talking about Arsenal. They almost added 500 more gray hairs in my on my head yesterday. Last minute, we were comfortable throughout the game. They gave us 2 quick goals in the first half. Bukayo Saka, the jollof rice worked yesterday. Thank you to Bukayo Saka's mother for feeding that boy jollof rice, because he gave us a brilliant goal. First 10, 15 minutes, and he assisted with Odegaard's next, goal 5 minutes later. And then we were comfortable until 80-something minutes. My goodness, I almost got a heart attack. I had to take my blood pressure medication right there when Wolves scored after Sinclair made that horrible mistake of protecting the goal. But anyway, we survived after 120 minutes of that game. So we are still on top. Yes, 33 points on top. Still number one. We live another day.
Kutangira te kufika. Kutangira te kufika.
Leave us, Lord.
Kutangira te kufika.
Oh, leave us. And I'd like to say thank you to Spurs for drawing last minute with Man City today. Thank you, Spurs. Liverpool Nyonyo. All right, congratulations, you won. So you're second. Man City is third. Aston Villa, who we are playing soon, is fourth. But anyway,
Vachirufya.
Okay.
Could you translate to me what it means, kutangira te kufika?
For somebody whose team lost, I wanted even not to mention them today.
Here's what I can tell you. Arsenal te va kupele nako this season. I'm telling you, I swear to God.
Are you Arsenal Vachirufya?
Who doesn't
Where
know?
have you been?
Are you Arsenal Vachirufya?
Now I know why you are behaving like that, two of you. Don't worry. Arsenal does the same thing over and over. You are just warming the seat.
Let me say one thing. If ever Arsenal, they've been all these years, they've been coming in with Manchester United and stuff like that. But if we were Arsenal, for real fans, would be like, this is our season. Last season, twice we made a little bit of it, but this season,
that's how it was even last season.
No. Last season we lost to Man City, both home and away. This time we beat Man City. We have been beating Matuvi United. By the way, for somebody who was saying Matuvi United lost to Newcastle yesterday. Just I didn't want to mention them, but because you say
I know that
you lost miserable.
Yeah.
We don't cry when we lose.
Oh my goodness.
We don't cry out. We don't cry like
Matuvi United.
We don't cry like Lungu and Rubinda.
You know what happens? Jessica calls me every day.
Manchester United.
Yeah, but God. Where are you in the chat?
We don't care where we are. We are coming.
Vachirufya. To be really honest, Manchester United, this is how we are.
Yeah, well, Manchester.
No. Let me say this. We are not one of those that
oh my goodness.
Yeah, we don't sleep.
I really feel sorry for you guys.
with us,
my.
we accept loss, and we dust ourselves, pick up, dust ourselves, and then we keep it moving.
You know what, Bachufia, you know what happened? You know what happened yesterday? You truly did think I would call me. Yesterday after after the Machuvi United, not even a text or a call. Until today, I was even surprised you still.
We're look. Unlike PF, we're in the rebranding stage.
And our rebranding is genuine. It's not done anything fake. There's no true value.
On that note, we are done for the day. Until next week.
Okay, have a good day. Have a good evening.
We're
have a good
waiting
night.
for that rebranding. all right, viewers. Until next week, please keep the faith.
Thank you. Have a good one, everybody.
My